Hello, all of you. I am Dr. Indrajit Dhole, working as assistant professor in the Department of Physics of SJM College, Karad. Today's my video lecture is on topic semiconductors. So this topic is covered in the BSc and MSc syllabus. So before going towards the semiconductors, first of all we have to understand what is atom, what are electrons, what are neutrons, what are protons. So atom is the smallest particle of an element. Nucleus consists of positively charged protons and uncharged particles called as neutrons. The negative charged particles are revolving around the nucleus, which are having charge of negative electrons. So electrons orbit the nucleus of an atom at a certain distance from the nucleus. Here are electrons are revolving around the atom. Electrons near the nucleus have less energy. These electrons are having less energy, and these electrons are having more energy than these electrons. So electrons near the nucleus have less energy than those in more distance orbit. So what are the valence electrons? Valence electrons are outermost shell electrons. These are the valence electrons in this atom. So electrons that are in orbit farther from the nucleus have higher energy and are less tightly bound to the atom than those close to the nucleus. Electrons with the highest energy exist in the outermost shell of an atom are relatively loosely bound to the atom. These are the valence electrons, and these are outermost shell of atom. Okay. Then silicon atom. Silicon atom has four valence electrons. Silicon is the most popular material which can be used as a semiconducting material for research purpose. These are having four valence electrons. So these are having four electrons in the outermost shell of this atom. So what is the sharing of electron in silicon? A silicon atom with its four valence electrons shares an electron with each of its four neighbors. Here we have shown the electrons revolving around this atom. These four electrons, 1, 2, 3 and 4. These electrons are related to this atom, and 1, 2, 3, 4. These four electrons are related to this atom. Then this effectively creates 8 shares valence electrons for each atom and produces a state of chemical stability. The sharing of valence electrons produce the covalent bond. The sharing of valence electrons produce the covalent bonds that hold the atoms together. Each valence electron is attracted equally by the two adjacent atoms which share. So as a physicist, we are primarily interested in how we can get the electrons to move. We need to introduce a couple of concepts such as holes, electrons, band gap energy, electron density. So first of all we will understand about the hole. Electrons gains thermal energy and breaks away from the bonds. They begin to act as a free charge carriers that called as free electrons. And an electron leave behind a void because the bond is now incomplete. A void that created by the removal of electron is called as hole. So movement of electrons and holes. How the movement of electrons and holes will happen in the semiconductor? So we will see in these three pictures. Here we have shown, here one electron is removed from this covalent bond and hole is appeared here. So what happens? From this covalent bond, one electron travels to this hole and it completes the bond and it forms the covalent bond. So in picture 2 we have shown this hole is transferred to this vacancy and it filled and formed a covalent bond. Then again in covalent bond number 2, the hole is filled by the electron from the covalent bond of 3. In this way, one electron has travelled from right to left and one hole is travelled from the left to right. In this way, movement of electrons and holes will happen. So what is band gap energy? Band gap energy is nothing but the distance between the valence band and conduction band. So does any thermal energy create free electrons and holes in silicon? The answer is no. A minimum energy called the band gap energy is required to dislodge an electron from a covalent bond. For silicon, the band gap is 1.12 electron volt. Okay. Insulators display a higher energy, that is 2.5 electron volt for diamond, and it is lies in between 1 electron volt to 1.5 electron volt. So what is the difference between insulator, semiconductor and conductor? The distance between the valence band and conduction band is overlapped in the conductor, that is metal, and the distance between conduction band and valence band is far more as compared to the metal and semiconductor in insulator. In semiconductor, the distance between the valence band and conduction band is lies in between insulator and conductor. So semiconductor is act like as an insulator, and it can act like a conductor. So next point is electron density. How many free electrons are created at a given temperature? We can calculate with the help of this formula. From this formula, we can say that Ni, that is electron density, as expected materials having a larger band gap energy exhibit a smaller Ni, that is electron density. Also, as temperature approaches 0, the electron density approaches 0. So, how do we can increase the electron density? Why we want to increase the electron density? The only one electron. What is this mean? That there is only one electron for 5 to 10 raised to 12 atoms at a room temperature. So we want to increase the electron density of that particular material, that is semiconductor. So these are the types of semiconductors: intrinsic semiconductor, extrinsic semiconductor. So here are the types: intrinsic semiconductor, that is known as pure semiconductor, and extrinsic semiconductor. These are having two types: N-type semiconductor, P-type semiconductor. N-type is having pentavalent impurities such as phosphorus. It is also called as a donor impurity, and P-type semiconductor material is also known as trivalent impurity, which is also called as donor impurity Nd. So what is the difference between intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor? Intrinsic semiconductor is also known as pure semiconductor, and extrinsic semiconductor is known as impure semiconductor. So in intrinsic semiconductor, density of electron is equal to the density of holes, and in extrinsic semiconductor, density of electrons is not equal to the density of holes. In intrinsic semiconductor, it depends on the temperature only, and in extrinsic semiconductor, it depends on the temperature as well as the amount of impurity doped into that specific semiconducting material. In intrinsic semiconductor, there is no impurity, and in extrinsic semiconductor, there is a trivalent impurity and pentavalent impurity we can add. So what is intrinsic semiconductor? Intrinsic semiconductor, it is a pure silicon, has few electrons in comparison to the number of atoms, therefore it is somewhat resistive. So intrinsic semiconductor is nothing but a pure semiconductor. So how we can do extrinsic semiconductor? By adding a trivalent impurity and pentavalent impurity into that intrinsic semiconductor. So here are the two most widely used trivalent and pentavalent impurity is boron and phosphorus. So can we use something other than this silicon? Yes, boron and phosphorus. So phosphorus has 5 valence electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 electron is unattached. This electron is free to move and serve as a charge carrier. So doping, the controlled addition of impurities such as phosphorus to an intrinsic pure semiconductor is nothing but doping. If we will add pentavalent impurity into intrinsic semiconductor, then it is known as N-type semiconductor. And if we will add trivalent impurity in an intrinsic semiconductor, then it can be known as P-type extrinsic semiconductor. So if we dope silicon with an atom that provides an insufficient number of electrons, then we may obtain many incomplete covalent bonds. A boron has only 3 valence electrons. 1, 2, 3, and can form only three covalent bonds. Therefore, it contains a hole and is ready to absorb a free electron. So, summary. In an n-type semiconductor, electrons are the majority carriers and holes are the minority carriers. In p-type semiconductor, holes are the majority carriers and electrons are the minority carriers. If a voltage is applied across an n-type material, the current consisting predominantly of electrons is produced. And if a voltage is applied across a p-type material, the current consisting predominantly of holes is produced. So here I have shown in the picture and diagram whatever the summary has been done. So some important properties of the semiconductor. It can act like as a insulator at 0 Kelvin. On increasing the temperature, it can also act like as a conductor. Semiconductors can be modified by doping to make semiconductors such as extrinsic semiconductor devices suitable for the energy conversion. It has lesser power losses. It has smaller in size and possesses less weight. Semiconductor is having resistivity is higher than conductors but lesser than the insulators. The resistance of semiconductor material decreases with increase in the temperature and vice versa. Thank you.